Hi, my dear student. Welcome to my channel. In this session, discussing about asexual and sexual reproduction in plants, part 4. Part 4, given the topic, female reproductive organs. Female reproductive organs, the female part called the pistil. The pistil may be ovary, style and stigma. Ovary encloses the ovule. The female reproductive part and the male reproductive part is the important essential organs of the flower. Why the essential? The andrecium and gynecium that is involved in the fertilization. So the essential organs of the flower, andrecium and gynecium. So today the session, discussing the topic of female reproductive part, gynecium. The gynecium represent the female reproductive part of the flower. The word gynecium represent one or more pistil of a flower. The word pistil refers to the ovary, style and stigma. A pistil is derived from a carpel. The word ovary represents the part that contains the ovules. The stigma serves as a landing platform for pollen grains. The style is an elongated, slender part beneath the stigma. The basal swollen part of the pistil is the ovary. The ovules are present inside the ovary cavity, that is called locule, on the placenta. Gynecium, that is called carpel, arises as a small papillate outgrowth of meristematic tissue from the growing tip of the floral primordium. It grows actively and soon gets differentiated into ovary, style and stigma. The ovules or microsporangia arise from the placenta. The number of ovules in a ovary may be entirely will be different. The one ovary may be one ovule. The paddy, wheat, mango plant. Many ovules, papaya, watermelon and orchids. These are all about some introduction about the female reproductive part, that is gynecium. Another one, the structure of ovule, the embryological term, Megasporogenesis. The ovule is, the largest ovule in the plant kingdom, Ficus plant. Ficus is a gymnosperm plant, largest ovule. So the largest ovules of the plant kingdom, that is called what, children? Only by Ficus. The part of the ovary developing into seed after fertilization. This type of ovule may be polygonal gaseous typical ovule. The integuments, ovule is also called megasporangium and is protected by one or two covering called integuments. Outer one integument is called unitemic. Two integuments is called bitemic. The most of the ovules contain two integuments are there, that is called bitemic ovule. Another one, funiculus. A mature ovule consists of a stalk and a body. The stalk or funiculus is also called punicle, is present at the base and at the reaches and attach the ovule to the placenta. Another part, hilum. The point of attachment punicle to the body of the ovule is known as hilum. It represents the junction between ovule and punicle. In an inverted ovule, the funicle is adherent to the body of the ovule, forming a ridge called raphe. The body of the ovule is made up of central mass of parenchymal tissue called nucellus, which has large reserve food material. The nucellus is enveloped by one or two protective covering called integuments. The integument encloses the nucellus completely except at the top, where it is free and forms a pore called micropyle. The ovule with one or two integuments are said to be unitemic and also bitemic. I already told you, only one the unitemic, two is called bitemic. The basal region of the body of the ovule, where the nucellus, the integument, and punicle meet to a point, is called chalasa. There is a large ovule sac-like structure in the nucellus. Toward the micropylar end is called embryo sac or female gametophyte. It developed from the functional megaspore formed within the nucellus. Another one, endothelium or integumentary tapetum. Example, Asteraceae family. What is endothelium? The inner layer of the integument may become specialized to perform the nude tissue function for the embryo sac. That is called endothelium or integumentary tapetum. Most of the students are right integumentary tapetum. The tapetum answers are right. Is the wrong. Integumentary tapetum is also called endothelium. It's one of the important question. Another one, based on the position of the sporogenous cell, two types of ovules are there. The question will be asked, number one, Tenny nucellate type, number two, Gracie nucellate type. Tenny nucellate type means if the sporogenous cell is hypodermal with a single layer of nucellar tissue around. But Gracie nucellate ovules with the subhypodermal sporogenous cell. Tenny nucellate, normally ovules have very small nucellus. But Gracie nucellate, normally ovules have fairly large nucellus. These are discussing about Tenny nucellate and Gracie nucellate. Another one, hypostasis, epistasis. Hypostasis means a group of cells found at the base of the ovule between the chalasa and the embryo sac. But epistasis means thick-walled cell found above the micropylar end, above the embryo sac. So the hypostasis is known as epistasis. Another one, types of ovule. Types of ovule is based on the orientation, form and position of the micropyle with respect to punicle and chalasa. There are about 6 types of ovules are there. Number one, orthotropous ovule. In this type of ovule, the micropylar is at the distal end and the micropyle and punicle and the chalasa lie in one straight vertical line. Example, Piperaceae and Polygonaceae example. Second one, anatropous ovule, they may be inverted. The body of the ovule become completely inverted so that the micropyle and funiculus come to lie very close to each other. Example, the common type of ovule found in dicot and monocot. Third one, chemi-anatropous ovule. In this type, the body of the ovule is placed transversely and at right angles to the punicle. Example, Brimulaceae. Fourth one, campylotropous ovule, that may be curved ovule. The body of the ovule at the micropylar end is curved and more or less bean shape. The embryo sac is slightly curved. All the three, xylem, micropyle and chalasa, are adjacent to one another, with the micropyle oriented towards the placenta. Example, Leguminaceae family. Another one, ambitropous ovule. Ambitropous ovule, the key points, horseshoe-shaped nucellus. The distance between xylem and chalasa is less. The curvature of the ovule leads to a horseshoe-shaped nucellus. Example, some Alismataceae family. Sixth one, circinotropous ovule, that is maybe peculiar type of ovule. Puniculus is very long and surround the ovule. Example, Cactaceae family. Next one, development of ovule. The ovule or megasporangium develops as a small ovoid protuberance from the placental tissue. The tissue grows and develops into the nucellus. The integument develops as a ring-like outgrowth from the base of the nucellus. The integuments grow overlapping the nucellus and leave a opening called the micropyle at the apex of the ovule. The inner integument develops first and is followed by the development of the outer integument. The nucellus form a beak-like outgrowth at the micropyle known as nucellar beak in polygonum. Thus, the ovule consists of nucellus and integuments. In the nucellus develops the embryo sac or female gametophyte. Another the major portion, Megasporogenesis. Megasporogenesis means the process of development of megaspore from a megaspore mother cell is called Megasporogenesis. The megaspore is the burst cell of the female gametophyte. The megaspore formation and development of the embryo sac or female gametophyte occurs inside the ovule. As the ovule develops, a single hypodermal cell in the nucellus becomes enlarged and function as a archisporium. In some plant, the archisporial cell may directly function as a megaspore mother cell. In others, it may undergo a transverse division to form outer primary parietal cell and inner primary sporogenous cell. The parietal cell may remain undivided or divide by few periclinal and anticlinal division to embedded by the primary sporogenous cell deep into the nucellus. The primary sporogenous cell functions as a megaspore mother cell. The megaspore mother cell undergo meiotic division to form 4 haploid megaspore. Based on the number of megaspore that develop into the embryo sac, 3 basic type of development. Number 1 monosporic, number 2 bisporic, number 3 tetrasporic. The number 1 monosporic, the megaspores are usually arranged in a linear tetrad. Of the 4 megaspores are formed, usually the chelacell one is functional and other 3 megaspores are degenerate. The functional megaspore forms the female gametophyte or embryo sac. This type of development is called monosporic development. Example, polygonum. Another one, bisporic. Of the 4 megaspore formed, if 2 are involved in the embryo sac formation, the development is called bisporic. Example, allium. Third one, tetrasporic. If all the 4 megaspores are involved in embryo sac formation, the development is called tetrasporic. Example, peperomia. So, an ovule is generally a single embryo sac. The development of the embryo sac may be an polygonum type. Another one, development of monosporic embryo sac. In polygonum, the embryo sac is monosporic and 8 nucleate type. The embryo sac is formed from a single functional megaspore and so it is called monosporic. The embryo sac is called 8 nucleate because a total of 8 nuclei are formed by 3 successive divisions of the megaspore nucleus. The 8 nucleate type of embryo sac is the common type and it occurs in 81% of the angiosperm family. Hence, this type of embryo sac is designated as the normal type. It is best illustrated in Polygonum divariegatum, bust described by Strasburger in the year 1879. The functional megaspore is the bust cell of the embryo sac or female gametophyte. The megaspore elongate along micropylar and chelacell axis. The nucleus undergo a mitotic division. Wall formation does not follow the nuclear division. A large central vacuole now appears between the 2 daughter nuclei. The vacuole expands and pushes the nuclei towards the opposite pole of the embryo sac. Both the nuclei divide twice mitotically, forming 4 nuclei at each pole. At this stage, all the 8 nuclei are present in a common cytoplasm. That is called a free nuclear division. Next one, structure of female gametophyte. The female gametophyte is the embryo sac containing the egg. In polygonum, the female gametophyte is monosporic and 8 nucleate. After the last nuclear division, the cell undergo appreciable elongation, assuming a sac-like appearance. This is followed by a cellular organization of the embryo sac. Of the 4 nuclei at the micropellar end of the embryo sac, 3 organize into an egg apparatus. The 4th one is left free in the cytoplasm of the central cell as the upper polar nucleus. 3 nuclei of the chalasalient form 3 antipodal cell, whereas the 4th one functions as the lower polar nucleus. Depending on the plant, the polar nuclei may remain free or may fuse to form secondary nucleus, that is called central cell. The egg apparatus is made up of central egg cell and 2 synergids, one on each side of the egg cell. Synergids secrete chemotropic substances that help to attract the pollen tube. The special cellular thickening called filiform apparatus of synergid help in the absorption conduction of nutrients from the nucellus to embryo sac. It also guides the pollen tube into the egg. Thus, a 7-celled with 8 nucleate embryo sac is formed. These are all about the discussing topic of female reproductive part, that is called gynecium. So, evaluation for some portions. Number 1, identify the incorrect pair. Option A, sporopollen, exon of the pollen grain. Tapetum, nude tissue for developing microspores. Option C, nucellus, nude tissue for developing embryo. 4th one, D, obturator, direct the pollen tube into the microfile. So option C is the incorrect pair. Nude tissue for developing embryo. So second one, choose the correct statements about a nucellate ovule. Option A, sporogenous cell is hypodermal. Option B, ovules have fairly large nucellus. Option C, sporogenous cell is epidermal. Option D, ovules have single layer of nucellus tissue. So the answer, option A, sporogenous cell is hypodermal. So the grace nucellate ovule, sporogenous cells are subhypodermal. Third question, which of the following represent the megametophyte? Option A, ovule. Option B, embryo sac. Option C, nucellus. Option D, endosperm. So the answer, option B, embryo sac is the megametophyte. Fourth question, distinguish between the nucellate and grace nucellate ovules. Fifth question, give short notes on types of ovule. Sixth question, with the suitable diagram, explain the structure of an ovule. It's a very important question. The technical terms, one of the major portion, nucellus. Nucellus is a diploid tissue found on the inner part of the ovule next to the integuments. So this session, discussing the topic about female reproductive part, that is called gynecium, part 4 class. In the next class, part 5, the session, the topic of pollination. Different type of pollinations are there. Abiotic agents and biotic agents are there. So the more amount of information, discussing the topic about pollination. So this session only discussing the topic of female reproductive part, that is called gynecium. Thank you.